Let's go racing. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Vortex Racing Network's production of the Bonfire Premier Cup. The Bonfire Racing League is live in EchoPark for round 2 of our 13-race regular season. You are watching the Foss Racing 180 from Atlanta, Georgia. Big shout out to Tim Foss for sponsoring today's race, as this race is sponsored for Madison's race team. Madison's a junior high student. She raced karts last year under the sponsorship of Firewater Tire Solution. Pretty big name in the Midwest for chassis. And now she's taken the step up to race with the big boys. So good luck to her, and thank you to the Foss Racing team for sponsorship of the Foss Racing 180. 3 wide in the booth today. Mean Gene Money, Johnny Replay, Smoking Joe, bringing you all the action. Boys, it's a beautiful Atlanta day. I know this track is crazy, but it's starting to settle in. 32-degree banking. This is one of the more exciting venues on the circuit. What kind of action are we looking for today?
We're looking for a lot of drafting from these boys, a lot of bump drafting. We're going to see how tire wear and bump drafting super speedway package come together for the first time this season with these boys in the Bonfire Premier Cup.
Last year, of course, we saw 9 leaders here at EchoPark, and we saw Joe Volpis work with the devil. That's right. Jason Landry pushes him to a win. Landry, of course, had a broken car, but Joe Volpis won. That's 2 EchoParks in a row for Joe, counting backwards. So Joe Volpis could be going for a 3rd one today. Joining him on the podium last year were Jason Landry in 2nd and Zach Clausen in 3rd. But this year, no Landry. Zach Clausen missed about 10, 11, 12. I can't count further without using your toes, Johnny. But so Clausen not on the field today. But we do have plenty of drivers back that did miss the first race. So can't wait to see what kind of activity we're going to have. Of course, I'm talking about Paul Ferdiani. I'm talking about Zach Angle, Chris Smith, Kevin Kyle, Richard Leclerc, Joey Stiers, Chris Smorrell, and new driver out there as well, the 933. So got a lot of new stuff going on, but a lot of old stuff as well. How about you, Johnny? You've raced this track a few times. What are you anticipating from the boys of Bonfire?
I'm wondering how the new model of the car is going to affect these guys, because we saw that update at the end of last season. So this is a new car that they're driving for this race today.
Yeah, we saw the effects of that last week at Kentucky. Of course, Johnny's making reference to the higher horsepower and no diffuser on the back. So basically coming in tight, heading out loose. We did see that affect us at Kentucky last week. Be very curious to see exactly how it will treat the cars this week. Talking about last week, we saw Nick Mills take the win of the Puckett Memorial. Nick Mills, of course, a two-time Bonfire champion, one of the drivers jockeying for dominance with the exit of the Ignition Point team of Jason Landry and Jared Kelly. Now, Landry, Kelly, they might run part-time a few races, but they've not going to be full-time. So Nick Mills stepping up as one of those drivers to pay attention to. Second place was Evan Stewart. And that's another guy we're going to watch. Of course, Evan Stewart, part of that Fish Speed Brakes racing team. So Evan going to be a guy to keep track of, as he is committed to a full-time season. And spoke with him last week, and they have targeted a championship here in Bonfire as their goal. But that is a steep order. Few repeat champions, very difficult to get wins on this circuit. Joe, what do you think? You know a lot about those Fish Brakes guys. You're a good friend of Jordan Fisher, the founder of it. Evan, he's got that in him, or is that just big, tall talk?
Yeah, Evan Stewart, very good at this kind of style of racing. He actually won the last race in Bonfire Premier Cup at Talladega. So he's the most recent winner on a super speedway draft style racetrack. So Evan Stewart's going to be one that I look out for here today.
I love it. We're talking about fish speed breaks, and what are we doing? We're talking about super speedways. On the screen right there, you can see Todd Dunn, the number 72 Florida Man Racing driver. Todd, steady improvement week after week. He ran full-time last year, did advance in the first round best of the rest tournament. So the 72 of Todd Dunn looking to continue to improve his finishes here today at EchoPark. Out on the track now, that is the number 38, I
98.
believe. 88?
You gotta get your glasses. 98, 98. I think you gotta get your glasses checked there.
There's no 98 on the radar. Oh, it's now, there it is, 98. That's Joe Vulpes out there in that Animal House Custom. So that's a guy we're going to keep an eye on. 2 in a row. Last week did get third in the Puckett Memorial. 26th fastest in qualifying. But, you know, that first lap, kind of a throwaway. And so we're waiting to see. Now, I've heard rumor the track gets faster as we go. And all of those guys in the top 5 did run later in the session. So right now, Ignition plus EV Paints driver, yeah, they got a rebrand. Jose Medina up on top. Kyle Lynott, Jax Duvall, David Owens, Paul Ferdiani, top 5. Vulpes, one more lap around, gets up to 15th for the Animal House Customs driver. Waiting to see who will claim the newly minted 988 Pole Award. And there it is. This is official. Jose Medina, the Plus EV Paints Racing driver. Congratulations. You are the recipient of the 988 Pole Award. Want to give a big shout out, lots of love to Kyle Lynott for his sponsorship this year of the Pole Award. Kyle, of course, picking up the mantle from the last year's. And so now Kyle Lynott, thank you, the 988, of course, the Suicide Awareness and Prevention Hotline. If you or someone you know is suffering from this devastating situation, feel free, text or call. You are loved and you are heard. Jose Medina going to be joined on the front row by Kyle Lynott. Jax Duvall going to start in third, joined by Gulf Coast driver David Owens. Third row, Paul Ferdiani and Jerry Rose in the third row, firing off from the 6th position. Pony Up teammate Eric Gambrill going to start 7th. Welcome back, Joey Stiers, the 23 Toyota, starting in 8th here today. Double O Joe, another Plus EV Paints driver, starting in 9th. Zach Engel making his first start of the season, got his number 47 starting in the 10th position. David Brenner going to fire off from the number 11 position. Evan Stewart, last week's runner-up this week, going to start in 12th with that number 34 Ford. Justin Malarkey, the number 73, firing off from 13th. Got his teammate Chris Smorrell in the number 5, starting in 14th. Joe Vulpes in 15th, and last week's winner, Nick Mills, starting in 16th. Take it away, Johnny.
Michael Serra starting in 17th, then Chris Smith in 18th, Ricky Mandela Sr. in 19th, along with David Medina in 20th. David Buell starting in 21st spot with Jake Johnson 22nd. Rick Modric in the 23rd, Todd Dunn in 24th, Richard Leclerc in 25th, and Tim Darby in 26th, and then putting no time, Kevin Kyle in 27th and Tommy Fox in 28th.
Oh, you got 2 more goers.
Oh, and Stephen Neal in 29th and Ben Knights in 30th.
30 drivers ready to do battle, but you know what? Let's go to the 4th member of our team. Take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Larry McReynolds here with NASCAR and Fox. You know, America's crew chief. Welcome to the Bonfire Premier Cup Series. You know the deal. All right, all right, all right. Drivers, start your engines. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go iRacing.
You know, Larry, I talked to him again this morning. He is still salty. Kevin Kyle did not pick him to take over that Thursday night Quantum Contender Series and join Kevin in the booth. You know, Joe, I think I'm going to have Kevin Kyle talk to him because I can't handle the heat. Man, Larry Mack's a fiery dude.
Larry Mack is always on his best behavior, but he likes to throw down hard with some of these boys. Looks like some other guys are already getting ready to throw down there. Look at that, Jax Duvall giving Medina a little bump before the race even gets going.
Yeah, absolutely. Duvall, one of the guys you're going to keep an eye on. Florida Man Racing was a Final Four contender last year. Didn't get the result he wanted, so this year back with a vengeance in that number 84. Pace car is off. Kyle Lynott a little bit ahead of Medina there. Medina with a late start. Oh, I think that might be some gamesmanship as Kyle Lynott crossed that start-finish line before Medina. You can't do that.
I'm hearing black flag across the radio for the 988. Not the start Kyle Lynott needed. Initial start of the race, mind you. Going to get a black flag to start the race.
Outside lane, Kyle Lynott trying to get his way down. Gonna have to come into the pits. Medina denies him, says, got you once, got you twice. Medina holding that apron, got Jax Duvall giving him a push behind. Paul Ferdiani, third car, inside lane. Outside lane, Lynott still continuing to push forward, needs to get down to that apron. David Medina trying to give him a push. Big gap back to the third car on the outside rows. Jerry Rose, boy, ain't got the balls to pass me on the outside. Side by side behind him, you can see that is the 23 of Joey Stiers. Stiers dives to the apron behind Ferdiani to fill the gap. Eric Gambrell left. Great racing here early at EchoPark, but the early story, Kyle Lynott got to make his way to the pit.
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on him right now because he has to pit this time or it will be a disqualification, and that will be the end of his race already. So he has to get down right here, right now.
Calling out on the radio, he's asking Duvall, let me down. Duvall holds up that finger and wags it at him like the Kembe Mutombo in the early 2000s. There we go. Looks like Joey Stiers going to make a gap. Outside lane falling apart. Now you can see Lynott does get down. Gonna go ahead, fly into the pit. Up front, single file, 5 cars, 2 wide at the 6th position between Rose and Gambrell. Balarkey trying to make the outside work with the 51. Medina, still your leader, Jax Duvall, right behind him. You can see as well Paul Ferdiani. And there's that David Owens looking high.
David Owens looking like he wants to get up front and do something here. And right now trying to find his way around a couple boys in front of him. So right now you're looking at him shoot to the outside. We'll see if Duvall goes out there with him. I don't expect Ferdiani to because he's teammates with Jose Medina.
Yeah, of course, the rebrand this year, EV Plus paints. Medina, Ferdiani, 00 Joe. Here we go. The 84 of Duvall looking outside. Here comes David Owens, might go with him. Look at the side draft by the 84, getting down tight to Medina.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, though, if you want to make that run on the outside work. You have to side draft as hard as humanly possible to suck that car back on the inside and get a run.
Here comes 00 Joe on the outside, 3 rows back. Just made a shoot on there, getting past multiple cars. That's the 3rd member of the Plus EV Paints team. If he could get up there with his teammates, this would be dominant, even more so than what we've seen. Medina controlling the race, getting the push and the protection from the 33 of the Gambler. The Gambler gives a little bump to David Owens, says it's too soon for you. Bennett dives down to the apron, 4th car, inside lane. Duvall starting to fade without the push of Owens. Now Stiers gives a little tappy poo to the 84 as well. Ooh, this aero package definitely loose. Exactly what Johnny talked about.
Yeah, and there you go. The 84 just ducked down to the bottom now. Took that hold that he got to get in front of Jerry Rose. So he's going to settle into 5th in line. That now leaves David Owens and Evan Stewart working together on the outside. And look right behind them. They got Joe Volpus in tow with them. 3 Fords, 1, 2, 3 on the outside. All of them know each other fairly well. I know Joe and Evan know each other very well. And, of course, David and Joe know each other very well. So that should be a really good group of 3 guys together on the outside. We'll see if they're able to get that momentum going again.
Yeah, and right behind them, fourth car, outside row, Chris Smorrell, Folcom driver. We've seen him in victory lane at a super speedway before. And then add Chris Smith, the 7 motorsports driver in that number 37. Remember, Smith took 5th last year here at EchoPark, so he knows exactly how to move up to the front. Behind him, look at now, Mandela, David Medina making that outside even more powerful. Mandela laid down the fastest laps in practice, so he's used to pushing and getting pushed. And then that beautiful neon paint scheme of the number 9 Folcom driver of Medina. And behind him, David Buell, Animal House Customs driver, recovering from that knee replacement. It's on that right knee, so that is the loud pedal. Gonna need a little bit of ibuprofen at the end of the day. Up front, look at this now. 2 of the Plus EV Paint drivers, Stiers, the 3rd EV Plus driver, and then Jax Duvall. Outside lane, still trying to make progression, but Bennett doing his best to prevent them from getting up to his teammates. Good run by the double. Oh, Owens is loose. Look at this.
No.
Oh, barely misses the 51. Taps Malarkey into Smorrell. Oh, Darby down into the guy with the Martin Truex paint scheme.
Oh, Jerry, I think you got to get your air horn ready because we got a new graphic.
There we go. You know what that means, ladies and gentlemen. That means I minimize the screen, I pull up the soundboard, and then here it comes. First caution of the day. The demolition derby begins. David Owens a little bit loose, comes down the track, comes right back up, and unfortunately for him, collects a few people. Looks like Tommy Fox also got the tar knocked out of him a little bit further back in the pack. No fast repairs here today, and no scheduled caution for the there's no stage breaks, no points for that. So you take damage, you could be out. You go on slow, you could go laps down. That's Tommy Fox. You can see Malarkey, Darby as well into the pits. What you got? Take it away, Johnny.
Exactly everybody who got injured. But yeah, it looks like he just, I don't think there was any contact. He just got loose, hit Duvall there. And then it just, I thought he was going to save it for a bit, but then he hits Malarkey. Let's see.
Yeah, Malarkey overcorrected.
Right there, right in the front. Ooh, who's that, the 22?
Yeah, that's David Brenner. And then Darby comes down into the Truex paint scheme.
That's Todd Dunn. Ironic that the 2 guys that sponsored the cautions, Todd Dunn last season, Tim Darby this season, get together in this one.
No, Calamity at the front of the pack, spreads throughout, picking up Tommy as well. Yeah, what happened to Tommy?
I heard. Hit.
Yeah, go back. Let's take a peeky poo.
Oy! Too much rear brake,
right,
I think.
Let's
or did he get hit? Oh, he got hit.
Oh, no, he got hit.
Too much front bumper.
So Juan, you got some good experience with this car now. When somebody hits you like that, how easy is it to slow down the car?
When you're sideways, like right there, you could slow down still, right?
I've tried not to get hit. I'll stay towards the end of the pack.
Oh!
I know how these brakes are. I don't want to find out.
Look at that. Tommy was an inch away from getting revenge.
Oh. That would have saved him, actually, I think. Roll it back for a split second here. I know we're about to go green, but if you look, if he actually hits into the side of that car right here, I think that would have saved him from this massive contact. So that actually might have been best for him, was to actually hit the car that hit him. Tough break.
The lights are up, the pace car. EV Plus paints now, front row and their 3rd car on the 2nd row, with Double O Joe on the outside of Joey Stiers. Evan Stewart, Jerry Rose, and then Mandela and David Medina moving up into the top 8. Waiting for the pace car to get out of the way, leading us into turn number 3. You are watching the Foss Racing 180 live here at EchoPark on the Vortex Racing Network. Also, big shout out to Firewater Tire Solutions Incorporated. They are a major sponsor of Foss Racing, bringing Madison up through her kart racing and now ready to challenge the big boys starting next year. Good luck to her. Check them out. You can check out Foss Racing on their YouTube and see exactly what Tim and Madison are all about. Pace car off, waiting for us to go into the restart zone. Jose going to control it from the outside. 3, 2, 1, away we go. Great start there by Medina. Going to get about a 5-car lead. EV Plus behind is side by side, waiting to see the okie dokie to let Bennett down. There it is. Look at Ferdiani slowing the inside lane. Rose not helping Bennett on the outside. Finally closes the gap with Medina. See if Rose takes it 3 wide. Nope, not that kind of guy. EV Paints, though, 1, 2, 3. Got to be happy with that. Stiers, Stewart, Rose, Medina, all side by side with the 2 wide action. Finally, Rose with the push on Double O Joe around the outside lane with momentum. That's Double O Joe, 51 of Rose, the 9 of Medina. Here comes David Buell to help out. Rose doing a good job of side drafting right there, as is Medina. Ooh. And guess what happens for all your hard work? See you later, buddy. Well, now,
you know exactly why that happened, Mean Gene. Those front 4 look like they're working together. I wonder if Stiers maybe in the chat with those 3 EV Paints boys, 1, 2, and 3. We all know how good they work together. If you remember when they were Ignition Point with Jared Kelly and Jason Landry, they worked together really well. So it looks like they've carried that same level of just chemistry with each other into the race here today.
Inside lane working very well. 1, 2, 3, all EV Plus paints. You got Joey Stiers, Evan Stewart. Now Medina going to dive low below the 51 of Rose. 34 of Stewart coming back up to the top. So outside lane wishes it could work, but not quite getting their act together. Inside, you see now Ricky Mandela going to take it up high in front of Rose. Outside lane with a chance with 4 cars if they side draft. Bottom lane, look at there, the 47 of Angle and the 27 of Michael Sara now coming into the picture as well. Outside lane trying to close the gap, but Joe, they just don't have it together out there yet.
Yeah, the momentum is just not there. You can see Evan Stewart, after losing about 4 or 5 spots, going to duck back down to the bottom. That now leaves Ricky Mandela as the leader of this outside. Jerry Rose pushing him from behind. Inside gets a little stacked up. They're going to need that to happen a couple more times to get this momentum back.
Jake Johnson with slight contact to the 117 of Richard Leclerc. Welcome back, Richard, making the trip to Atlanta here today. Oh, little spicy there. You can see the 117 cutting down in front of Jake Johnson. Right behind them's our first 2 wide action. As you can see, the 19 of Ricky Mandela running side by side with the 46 of Eric Gambrell. Then you can see Rose on the outside and Rich Modric in the 71 right behind Eric Gambrell. And then, oh my, is that Duval back there? What's he doing in the middle?
Yeah, so Duval had damage there from that first wreck. Here's all the boys that had damage, right? Duval, you see Kevin Kyle, Joe Vulpes, Stephen Neal, Tim Darby, Ben Knights. I see Nick Mills back here as well. All those boys had damage. Were able to get it cleaned up. Actually, I think Nick Mills was able to miss it, so he just wanted to be in the back. And then the guys that couldn't get it all fixed, you could see Kyle and not leading this group. He's 2 laps down. He's still got a little bit of damage. Brenner clearly damaged to the front end of that car. Same with Todd Dunn, Chris Smith. And then you have the guys with serious damage. It looks like Malarkey has some serious issues. He's fallen off. And then Chris Morrill back here as well with the same group, but these guys are a lap behind. Smorrill and Owens are a lap down. Kyle and 2 down.
So Kyle Lynott 2 laps down, trying to get it back together. Does have his teammate David Brenner there with him, but this group right here just not quite up to speed, doing their best to not lose ground to the lead group. Speaking of losing ground, Joe, what is Nick Mills doing today? Nick Mills out there in about, 22nd place, just chilling at the back of that lead group. So he's not in danger of going a lap down or fading backwards, but Nick definitely taking a cautious approach here today. Last week, he drove super cautious, stretched the fuel tank out like no one except Joey Logano could possibly do, took the win. Here today, Nick Mills cruising around in the back. What's going on? What happened to the Nick Mills we know and love?
So, like I was saying last week, if you remember at the end of the broadcast, Nick Mills, you always coined him Psycho Mills, right? But there's another side to the way Nick Mills races as well. And we saw the methodical version of him last week at Kentucky, able to do the right things at the right times to save the fuel to make it to the end and win the race. That's the other side of Nick Mills, is he's very good at figuring stuff out in order to give himself an advantage. And last week he played it perfectly. What he's doing here, though, I think is a combination of stuff. I think he's maybe not on his normal setup for starters, so that's he's just trying to get reacclimated with the one that he is on currently, as well as making sure you don't get caught up in a big wreck. You look at some of the guys in front of him as well, Joe Volpus as well, that's somebody that usually runs up front of these races. Jerry Rose, he ran top 5 all last season, if you remember Jerry. Mean Gene in these races as well. So he's right now right in front of Volpus. So all three of those guys in the back, maybe a little bit different from what you're used to seeing from a Nick Mills, from a Joe Volpus, from a Jerry Rose when we come to Atlanta, even Duvall back here as well. But trying not to be involved in a wreck. When a wreck happens that early in the race, they really want to make sure that we make it to the end of the race, because you can't win if there's not a car to finish the race with.
Well, we're watching a wiser group here at the moment out on the track, trying to avoid being part of the big one. But you know what they say, the more you try to prevent something, the higher the odds it just might happen. Now, tires also way different here on the high banks of EchoPark than they are at the other two venues for the Super Speedway. Daytona, especially Talladega, tires not an issue. Here, we actually saw left sides wear out quicker on extended runs. And so these tires are going to affect the cars later in the run. We're on lap 28 right now. So expect to start seeing these guys wiggle, especially the ones that are running too wide in a group. Right there, you can see Evan Stewart on the outside getting the push from Leclerc. Stewart going to dive down in between Malarkey and Sara. Outside lane now has the 117 of Leclerc getting a push from the 19 of Ricky Mandela. Kevin Kyle coming in to the picture as well. Simon Destroy factory racing driver. Then David Buell and Richard Modric. So little, still too wide. Much more exciting to see it here at EchoPark than at Talladega Daytona. And now on lap 30, got to start wondering what that is going to do to the aero package of the car. Now, some of these guys did pit back on our first caution, so they're going to have a little bit more fuel to push this thing further, but I'd say, somewhere around, what do you think, around 45, we're going to see some pits?
Yeah, 45 is about the max somebody can go on a set of fuel here. The tires, though, are going to matter a lot, too, I think, as you watch Evan Sort get a run on the outside. These cars starting to report that, hear the guys saying that they're getting a little bit loose, actually, running in the draft. I think the tire wear is really starting to kick in for some of these boys. Look at how much they're moving up and down the track, all over the place, just trying to keep their cars as planted as they can. Tire wear going to be a really big key, I think, today, as Joey Styres makes a move.
Yeah, Joey Styres had enough. He wants to get involved with these plus EV paints guys and do some competing. Not going to get any help from those top three. Looks like Zach Engel does not want to play either. There's some Michael Sara in the 2-7. Outside lane, bringing it, though. Here we go. You've got the 23 of Styres, little loose on exit. Then Medina the 34 of Stewart, and that's Chris Smith behind him, David Buell, Richard Modric. Outside lane, trying to form up under the leadership of Joey Stiers, but they're 5 rows back right now. Got to get it together if they want a shot. 8 cars on the outside, though. That's plenty of ammo.
Yeah, plenty of ammo on the outside, but how much have these tires really worn down? Are they able to get the momentum that they need, or is the car getting too loose or too tight?
And look at Evan Stewart says, yeah, let's go. No, I'll dive in. It's okay. You don't need my help. You go on without me.
There goes Stiers
and
down
now
too.
Stiers. Yeah, Joey finally making that play. Gets down in front of Justin Malarkey. Now, of course, Malarkey is being shown a lap down. He would be first car eligible for that lucky dog. Outside lane now led by the Neon 9 of David Medina. Still getting that push from Richard Leclerc. Inside of them, you can see Mandela, Stewart, and look at who's up there still. That 32 of Jake Johnson. Great run by the Florida Man Racing driver, Jake Johnson. Here he is again, flirting with that top 10. You know, Jake was part of that Best of the Rest championship bunch. I think that's another driver we're going to get to enjoy watching mature and develop as this league continues. Now, of course, Bonfire Premier Cup under new leadership, trying to reform with that brand that was initially introduced by our founder, Dennis Puckett. Dennis had dubbed this league a league for the rest of us. So rebrand comes out, drop that iRating cap to 2,000, really giving folks a chance to develop. And I think drivers like Michael Sara, Jake Johnson, Jerry Rose, Stephen Neal, those are guys we saw join in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And here they are all in that lead group, making it happen. This is exactly what the founder wanted, and that is what we're seeing. Out front, Jose Medina chasing his teammate Double O Joe. So just great thing here that we're seeing. You are watching the Foss Racing 180. Mean Gene, Money, Smoking Joe, Johnny Replay, bringing you all this action. Great racing here on lap number 38. Only one caution so far as I stab my voodoo doll.
Yeah, one caution so far. If there's any sort of commentator curse going on here, Mean Gene, I think we're gonna have to come. Me and Johnny are gonna come shake you down for some lunch money for jinxing this race. Been great racing here ever since that early caution. Lots of green flag racing, especially for a track as difficult as Atlanta is without the super speedway package. Now you factor in all this drafting. Oh my goodness, what a racetrack.
So you got 23 cars in that lead lap, including the lapped car of Justin Malarkey. Then there's a little bit of jump back, about 4 seconds, to that second group. That second group being led by David Brenner, and he's still got some good people being led by Lynott, who's a lap down. And then you can see Brenner, Smorrell, David Owens, Chris Smith, and Todd Dunn. Brenner, Smith, and Dunn still on the lead lap. And why not? You're not losing a ton of speed to the lead group. Ride back here with 6 guys. Odds of being involved in a wreck do diminish with the smaller group. 6 seems like a perfect number, though, to keep speed with that larger bunch. So really good move, in my opinion, by Brenner, Smith, and Dunn here.
Yeah, so these cars do have some damage, though. I think that's what's affecting them, losing so much time at this point. That's my only concern, is if this race does, continue in this current caution-free state, these boys are losing so much time, they're going to get lapped anyways. So the whole advantage of, being up here and just riding around with the damaged cars, or being a damaged car, it's just gonna keep shrinking that ability and that hope of being able to get back into this race.
Yeah, lead group. Last time around, we saw Double O Joe run a 30.28, whereas if we look back to Lynott, who was leading that group, 30.53. So not terrible, 0.2 of a second, but as you said, Joe, they are just a tad off the pace and not having the ability to close in. Now, of course, the great equalizer is about to occur, and that, of course, is the green flag pit stops. Atlanta, a very fun pit stop. You got to come down below that cone in turn number 3. As we mentioned before, some drivers did come down and take fuel on lap 12, so they got a little larger of a window, but without serious communication, gonna be curious to see who comes with who.
Yeah, you know, right now that whole thing, you got to really call out the pits early if you want to get it to work together with people not a part of your team, right, Mean Gene? Because you got to be down on the apron pretty much out of turn 2 and be committed to pitting by that point, or you're going to be in trouble and get an unsafe pit entry, and then your race is over because you got an unsafe pit entry.
And we do see people as well trying to purposefully break up the pack, waiting till the last minute to swerve down, and that also can cause problems. But that falls under that racemanship category we spoke about earlier. Sometimes not being nice pays off. But look what happened to Kyle Lynott at the very beginning.
Whoa.
Jose Medina knew exactly where Lynott was, popped that brake, slowed everybody down right at the perfect moment. Lynott came across the start-finish line. Basically, unless there's a ton of cautions, Medina took the 988 out of the race on the checkered flag. So brilliant racecraft. And I think same way with pitting, how late you can bring it down will slow that pack down, giving you a slight advantage if you merge up with your team quickly coming out.
Yeah, of course. Teamwork is going to make the dream work here
to
put out some corny lines. But you really need to be packed up perfectly together. Be ready to push straight out of the pits when you come off 2 and remerge with the pack, or else you're going to lose a heap of time. I'm also expecting to see a lot of these guys maybe take 4 tires here, Mean Gene. Here we go.
All right, so there they are. The EV Plus Paint Boys quickly out of the bunch. Going to turn the lead over to Zach Engel. You do get a point for leading a lap, so that's something Engel's looking forward to. Double O Joe coming in first. You can see Ferdiani behind him. Medina, looks like Neil was part of that group as well. 5 cars going to be into the pits this first time, getting by Tommy Fox, who is, of course, sad after his early contact. There we go, cars again. And look, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That late moment of coming down under the apron last second, and that made a break in the pack. Oh, no. Buell, Medina around as well. Here comes Rose. He almost got him. David Medina and David Buell both with a spin-a-rooney coming into the pits.
That is not good. That's going to be a lot of time lost. And you saw the 52 car also. He crossed over the white line, so that's going to be an unsafe pit entry on top of all the time lost. So that's going to be a big hold for the 52.
Now,
Have that.
This is the gamesmanship I talked about. Look how far Rick Modric is behind that group. He is a good 2.5 behind Kevin Kyle. That's how you do it. Oh, no, but that right there, that's not how you do it, Johnny. What is that?
That is, I think he kind of lost it a little bit there.
Too fast. Was too fast below that white line. If you roll that back again real quick there, Johnny, the 23 car, it looked like he crossed over the white line as well, so that's going to be 3 guys with penalties. Yeah, he did. That is not good. All 3 of them are going to get some unsafe pit entries because they crossed over that white line.
So, meanwhile, you can see lead group has about 10 cars in there, and they are coming quick. Looks like they're going to zip on by. Who is that?
Gary Rose.
That Rose in the 51.
Joe.
And Rose and Double O Joe both go high to get away out of the train, led by Joe Volpus. Nick Mills, those two now saying, yeah, I'll take the lead. I'll lead some laps. Kevin Kyle running third. Rick Modric behind them. Johnson, Gambrell, Duvall, and Darby all still running. Remember, this group you see, these top 8 guys, they did pit on lap 12, so plenty of fuel for them. Now, I see Rose and Double O Joe still on the outside. Looks like Rose took tires. I think Bennett, though, got the penalty.
Yeah.
And that's forcing him back because he was in the pit for a buck 27.
Yeah, he's an extra lap down to Jerry. So
now Modric, though, slowing the progress of those two on the outside. He still has the older tires, so you're not going to go anywhere with that bunch. This is super smart, though. Don't let those faster guys get in front of this group.
all right, here's the group that's pitted, Mean Gene. The first guy right now out of them is Zach Engel. You see the 27 of Michael Sara behind them. If you look on that mini map in the bottom right, you can see first place coming out of 4. And then right now there's your 13th place car of Zach Engel going into 1. Mind you, they're almost a lap and 3/4 down right now to the race leader. So that's how much time you lose pitting here under green flag.
And there's only 2 guys there, Sarah and Engel. They ran that last lap 30.9, whereas that lead bunch led by Vulpes 30.14. So really seeing the speed difference of 2 cars versus that monster line right there. Sneaking by Kyle Lynott on the outside, fading a little bit back. You can see him getting reeled in by Modric. Up front, though, these guys gonna have that 10-lap buffer, but you'd expect to see them start to take fuel somewhere around 60, 62. Just depends on how far you want to push it. But being as they already pitted, I would imagine they're just going to run this thing dry.
Yeah, I would run it dry if it was me. That would get you probably right around halfway in the race, right around lap 62 or so. So that's probably what their plan is right now. Get it to as close to halfway as possible, and then make 1 pit stop second half of the race, probably for a splash and dash. So 4 tires here, splash and dash to the end. That is, of course, if it stays green. That group
and
behind them there, Mean Gene, sorry to cut you off, but it looks like the second group is starting to form back up of the guys that have pitted.
So getting a little bit more help. But yeah, just to follow up on what you said about that lead group, they're also the fastest group right now. Why change anything? Run it as long as you can. Why risk getting it broken up? Take advantage of what's happening in front of you. Got to be thrilled. And now, looks like Stiers and Ferdiani now played their card right. They stay in front of Vulpes right there. But again, Ferdiani, both those guys being shown a lap down.
Yeah, so Ferdiani is normal lap down. So he won't be in the lead group, though, when everything cycles out, but he'll still be on the lead lap. Joey Stiers, on the other hand, remember, he got one of those pit road entry penalties. So right now he's being shown 27th, 3 laps down. So when this all cycles through, I think he'll be 2, maybe 1 down if he's lucky.
All right, Chris Smith making the call. Smith is... Oh, and he's got friends going with him.
Yeah, this is that group of cars that had the damage right now that are running together. So you see David Owens, Chris Morrill with him as well.
Yep, so 3 fellas riding into the pits right now. Looks like they're pretty smooth, and you can see that Zach Engel group zipping by them, going into 1. And then finally the Vulpes, or I guess the Stiers-led group now, making their way through. And it looks like Modric, Rose, and Double O Joe are holding on to the tail end of that lead group. Now calls being made, though. It's time. Lead group finally bringing it down below, getting ready to go in.
Yeah, you saw Duval, Jake Johnson, and Justin Malarkey come in a lap prior. Here comes the rest of that group this time by.
And look at that. Again, great gamesmanship as they split the rest of that group in front of them. You can see Lynott and Modric with a gap, and then 2 cars behind them, and then another 2 behind them. So that group breaking off pitting late rather than coming down in the middle of the backstretch, waiting until the last instant to duck below that cone and ended up splitting that group of 6 cars up into 3 groups of 2. Great gamesmanship going on here at EchoPark.
All right, so here we go. Here comes Zach Engel. We're going to see Jake Johnson and Duval going to be right in front of them here. It looks like they're going to cycle in front of Duval and Jake Johnson. The lead group, though, the one that just pitted, is coming out of pit road. Mills, Kevin Kyle, Joe Volpus. It looks like they're pretty well together. Modric fell off a little bit, and Gambrel, not a good pit stop at all, way back of that group.
Yeah, Eric Gamble, remember last time at EchoPark, he spun coming out of pit road. So, again, having some calamity for the pony up driver. Volpus, Nick Mills making good progress, still ahead of that lead group, but lead group coming with speed. Volpus with help from Mills, Kevin Kyle. You can see Modric is in no man's land. He's going to be the first car 8 up by that lead group, now led by Zach Engel. Engel getting the push from Sara and the lap down car of Malarkey. Engel looking outside. Modric says, sorry, bro, we got to go. And he's going to take it round the outside. That group, though, with that move, I think Modric should fall into line and hold on. Other cars going high. Looks like Jake Johnson going to stay down on the inside. Oh, thought about peeking down below Modric, but finally settles in. And now Modric will fall into 6th place of this group, trying to catch the top 3. Top 3 with a 2-second lead, but we should see how quick they're going to catch up. That lead group, though, making great time. Last lap, 30.13. Group behind them. Update. Last lap, 29.75. Group behind them, 29.98. Very surprising.
Yeah, I think it was because of all the side-by-side action that was going on between them there, Mean Gene. I think that was the problem with them right there. They had some side-by-side stuff going on, getting everybody sorted out, and that's what messed them all up. So now we're going to see, now that they're more single file, what the lap times are compared between the first group of 3 with the rest of them.
Here we go. Going to bring it across the start-finish line. 30.03. 30.03 by that first group. 29.97 by the Zach Engel group. So still not a significant amount of difference. And with that lead, not going to be getting into the draft of the 3 leaders anytime soon. Curious to see just how long those 3 can hold off the charge of that larger train.
Yeah, right now the lap time's still very even with each other. 30.05s from the lead group, 30.12 from the second group, so pretty much they're trading back and forth right now. Not sure what's going on that they're trading back and forth, but this second group here of the big group here is just not able to catch up to this lead group of 3.
Now, there is a third group that's about 7 seconds back of that second large group. Those guys being led by the Gambler, Paul Ferdiani. You can see Joey Stiers, David Brenner, Kyle Lynott, all in that group. So about 7 cars. That is a good number. They should be able to hold their track position. All just depends on how much damage those cars have taken. Very difficult to tell from my angle. I think they're okay. I think they just had a little bit of pit shenanigans.
Yeah, that last lap, they were way faster. Now they figured it out. Look at that. They were a quarter of a second faster that last time by Zach Engel on back than Volpus Mills and Kevin Kyle. So I think they may have figured it out.
Yeah, it only took a little while. And then you say, wait, 11 cars is way faster than 3. We should be able to catch them. Lap number 69 here. We are scheduled for 115 laps here at EchoPark. One more pit stop for sure on the schedule for these fellas.
Give you a quick race recap right here for you, Mean Gene. Through the field here really quick with everybody. So, of course, 5 different lead changes right now. Joe Volpus is leading the race. He's led 21 laps now here in this race. So we'll see what he's able to do, continuing only the one caution. You look at the guys right behind him, Nick Mills, off a bunch of spots from 16th to 2nd. The biggest mover in the field has been Kevin Kyle, 27th to 3rd. Way to go, Kevin Kyle, coming through this field and being a part of this group. You can see then Zach Engel leading the second group. He's in 4th currently. See Sara in 5th. Rick Modric up a 17 spots in 6th. Jake Johnson, I know you shouted out Old Magic earlier. He's gone from 22nd to 7th so far in this race. Great showing from him. Jax Duval, always a player in these races right now, in 8th. Evan Stewart in 9th. And Jose Medina, your pole sitter, rounds out the top 10 currently.
Yeah, that second group would love to get a little bit closer. Once they get into that draft stream, I think we'll see them quickly close that gap. But look at the group of 3 now as they are closing up on an entirely different group of 3. Would love to get some help from those fellas. You can see Leclerc, Todd Dunn, all doing their best here, but going to duck down. Now going around Leclerc, quickly catching up. Looks like Todd Dunn going to go down a lap.
Darby in there as well, along with David Buell.
Yeah, so no help from that group as the group of 3 splits them. Now side-by-side drafting, and as we see Leclerc fade backwards, that's going to give a little bit more of a pull for that second group. I expect we're all going to be tightened up again very soon. There it is. You can see Engel now in the stream of Leclerc and Todd Dunn. So that closing the gap. But no sooner do they get close. Look at that. The outside lane opens up immediately. Engel going around. There's Sarah Modric and Sarah side by side. They're not worried about close the gap and catch Vulpes and gang. They're battling right here. I'm going to win it from 5th place right here.
Yeah, right now this is going to hinder their ability to keep catching up to that lead group. Zach Engel right now doing his best though, trying to catch up. It looks like everybody's starting to get together here. You got a couple of these lap cars now in between the front 3 and everybody else as Engel and Sara try and use the outside to get around the lap traffic.
Outside lane has not worked all day. Only person we've seen really use it
Oh,
was
no,
Double
no!
O. Oh, no. The 13 into Engel. Sara's spinning. Engel into Modric. There's Jake Johnson going for a ride.
Oh, no.
Looky. Looks like
one.
Medina got into Stewart, perhaps.
Oh, Sara's still having trouble getting it going. You know what it's time for, Mean Gene?
Oh, that means I get to open Discord. I get to open the soundboard. And there it is, your second caution of the day. The Demolition Derby is in full effect here at EchoPark. Big wreck here at the Firewater 180 at the Foss Racing 180 as we see the 13 and the 47 get a little too close to each other, and it causes the big one. Pits are open. Imagine everybody gonna come down and get a little touch up. Maybe tires, but definitely fuel. Few cars staying out. Imagine those are your lap guys, though. No one in their right mind would stay out at this point.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Johnny, you got a replay for us. Johnny
Got
might
it.
Still be on. Oh, never mind. He's got it.
I got it. So it looked like a little back and forth exchange between the cars, just hitting each other, sent Darby up. And then that's when chaos ensues. The 27,
Sorry,
the
Modric,
32. I think he might have clipped the 84, 34, 54.
Jake Johnson in the 13 had a bit of a T-bone going on there.
Yep. So that was, of course, that big lead group. They finally caught up to Vulpes and gang, as well as a few lap cars that were in that group. Once they all got together, loose tires met dirty air, And we saw the 13 fade up a little bit into the 47, picking up Sarah, Modric, and company.
All right, we got
Very
some
unfortunate.
problems here, Mean Gene. So,
All right.
So the guys in their right minds that pitted here can make it to the end. There are 4 guys that I guess they didn't get the memo. David Brenner stays out and takes over the race lead in the trade-off that he won't be able to make it to the end. Jerry Rose stays out in the trade-off that he won't be able to make it to the end, and he won't even get a lap led out of this right now. He'll have to take the lead from Brenner. Evan Stewart stayed out there as well after being involved in the wreck, mind you. He's in 3rd, can't make it on fuel. Stephen Neal now going to be in 4th. Also did not pit. All 4 of those guys. I mean, it's a strategy. I mean, we'll see how it works. It's a bold one.
Well, I'm listening on the radio. Rose and Stewart both communicating with their pits, saying, "What do you mean the effing thing is closed?"
I think Brenner's saying the same thing. I don't know what happened with Stephen Neal. I'm going to assume the same thing as well.
Yeah, a little bit of confusion. This does the pit does come up quickly on you, so those 4 guys gonna be begging for a pit stop. I think they got about 16 laps of fuel, so unless something happens very quickly, they're gonna find themselves on the wrong side of the coin almost immediately. Up front,
1 and 3/4
scary.
laps are lost there. Remember that, Mean Gene, as well. So 1 and 3/4, almost 2 laps lost by making a pit stop under green. So that's going to be pretty much any chance of the lucky dog probably lost as well.
Too bad. Those 4 guys all running in the top 15, and you imagine not being involved in the wreck, they would have had an opportunity to run pretty quick here toward the end, but instead, mental mistakes by those drivers, going to put them in a very tight position. Now, behind them, did anybody take tires?
Looks like fuel only for the 98. Everybody else took tires, though.
Interesting. So if Volpus can get past these 4 guys, the track position will be good, but he's got to make his way quickly, especially that inside lane. Going to be tough to get through Brenner and Stewart. There we go. Kind of a bad start by that outside lane. You can see immediately the 45 and Kevin Kyle fade back. Rose taking it way up high, already falling back to the 4th row. Inside lane, Brenner Stewart holding serve. Here comes Joe Volpus, got a push from Nick Mills. Mills worked with Volpus that whole beginning of that race after that first green flag pit stop, or after that first caution. So perhaps these two have an unwritten agreement. There's Ricky Mandela's in that group. Of course, Mandela is the team captain of Animal House for Joe Volpus. Side by side, look at Kevin Kyle now with the 84 of Duval. Let's go 3 wide.
Duval going to take advantage of that inside slippage. Look out for Duval. He always is looking for the advantage to take that move to the inside if he can get it. Oh, here we go.
Duval underneath Nick Mills now accelerates through the turn to move up into the top 4. Nick Mills now falling back into 5th. Ricky Mandela gonna go down with Duval side by side with underneath Nick Mills. Outside lane trying to hold on. That's David Brenner. Joe Volpus now fading a little bit back. Brenner in the lead with Stewart. We knew those two were going to be difficult to pass as they had the apron on that restart. Outside lane, though, here it comes. We saw those 3 guys working with each other earlier in the race, and now they're hooking back up again across the start-finish line a little bit faster. Volpus pushing it. Volpus still on the same tires, but managing to make it work. Getting the push from Mills. Then you can see the 31 of Kevin Kyle. And now coming into the picture as well is the 33 of Ferdiani. Volpus taking over the lead. He's led the most laps today, looking to lead some more. 2 in a row winner at EchoPark, trying to make it 3. And here on lap number 84, running strong, is that number 98 Animal House Custom Ford.
You know what I saw there, Mean Gene, is a bit of that maybe unspoken, unwritten relationship there with the 20 car today. because when Duval got to his inside there, Joe went to the outside and pulled the 20, and then they started pushing again to get their way to 1-2. So that really didn't work out for Duval at all. He actually getting to the inside of Nick Mills, instead of getting him in the top 3, he's fallen all the way back to 7th.
Hey, super speedways make strange bedfellows. Last year, we saw Vulpes work with Jason Landry. Right now, he's working with Nick Mills, and they are up front. Kevin Kyle still in the picture. He's now the 3rd car on the apron. So that trio basically turning into the 3 Musketeers, but Ignition Point Racing still at plus EV Paint Racing still in the picture. Paul Ferdiani making a move on the outside, getting the push from Joey Stiers. Are we going to go 3 wide? Are we going to go 3 wide?
Paul Ferdiani got shuffled out right there.
You're 3 wide. Oh, Gambrel lets Ferdiani back.
All right, here we go, Mean Gene. Now we got Joey Stiers pushing Kevin Kyle on the outside versus Nick Mills and Joe Vulpes on the inside.
And you start to wonder just how far these guys can go before they're going to have to pit. We're 10 laps into this run, so Brenner going to be thinking about fuel very quickly. It's Brenner, Stewart, Rose, and Stephen Neal all on the back end of this pit strategy. The group is running great. Everybody holding their line. So that margin, that timer is ticking down on those guys' lead lap run. Up front, Vulpes and Mills still in control on lap number 88. Coming out of turn number 4, Kevin Kyle now being shown behind David Brenner. Evan Stewart as well on the apron, holding on for dear life, praying for the caution that would save their lead lap lives. 00 Joe now working into that picture as well. Bennett, the first car, 1 lap down. That is that Undertaker Gravedigger 00.
Yeah, and of course that's a plus EV Paints car. Right now those boys are a bit broken up. It looks like the alliance is starting to really shift once again. Right now the only true alliance that I'm seeing out there that has the ability to make it to the end is the one in 1st and 2nd. Those 2 have been working together for most of the race. David Brenner would be working with them as soon as he pits, it's over for him. So right now, after that, there's no true alliances really lined up currently.
No, because even if you look at the other teams, they're not going to be able to make it to the end. You take David Brenner out, and there goes the Gulf Coast boys. You take Rose out, and there goes the Pony Up team. Neal is going to have to make a pit, and then Stewart as well. So this is going to be very interesting when these cars have to pull out and see how it affects the group as a whole as they're running here today. You are watching the Foss Racing 180. Great action here at EchoPark Speedway. Also, want to give a big thanks to an additional sponsor, Firewater Tire Solutions, co-sponsoring this with Foss Racing. Firewater Tire Solutions, of course, builder of chassis for kart racing, big name in the Midwest. If you're trying to go faster, check them out. They have some products that could assist you. That is Firewater Tire Solutions. Also, thank you to Kyle Lynott with the 988 Pole Award. Of course, 988 is the number that you can text or call if you or a loved one or a friend is suffering from depression. They are the people that you would want to talk to. And if you are an individual suffering from this, then remember, you are cared for, you are loved, you are heard. 988, text or call.
All right, race is starting to heat up. Here comes the outside line. Kevin Kyle with the help of the 23 and the 33. They're almost alongside Nick Mills here as the laps wind down.
David Brenner makes the call going down into the pit. That ends his lead lap run. Now you have to wonder how much further can Stewart, Rose, and Neal push their cars. Stewart running in 4th, Rose in 8th, Neal in 12th. You know they're kicking themselves when they're going to go from a top 10 to being 1, possibly 2 laps down by the end of this race. Vulpes, though, led the most laps, been in control. That's the guy we highlighted at the very beginning as winning 2 in a row at EchoPark, trying to make it 3. Behind him, spicing and dicing. Kevin Kyle trying to make the outside work, getting the help from Joey Stiers and Paul Ferdiani. You can see, though, inside lane.
There you go.
Oh, and there goes Stewart. He's had enough.
Out of fuel.
Coming down is Stewart. He cannot go any further.
Stephen Neal with him.
Neal goes as well. So the 51, the last guy praying for a miracle, as he is now shown in 7th. Little bit of a break, though, ahead of him. You can see Jake Johnson trying to do his best to hold on to that lead group. Ricky Mandela was a lap down earlier, now being shown in 5th place. So that number 19, remember, he was the fastest guy in practice, which means he knows how to cut through the field. He knows how to use the draft. Ricky been looking for that breakthrough race earlier in the year. This might be the day that we are going to see that. I hear on the radio the 51 and the 52 going to bring it down. Buell and Rose going to have to forfeit this lead lap run as those two's lead lap day finally over. Single file up front all the way back to Stiers and Jake Johnson. You can see now, in the 32 touches, Kevin Kyle, Jake Johnson says, hey, man, I'm trying to win here. You must never have been on the Florida Turnpike. Don't drive like that.
Double O Joe falling backwards. I was about to mention he's a lap down, so he's looking for a caution to get back on the lead lap. The closest guy that he's racing on the racetrack is Richard Leclerc, and he's not even in the draft. So I think old Jay-Z Bennett here, Double O Joe, may have realized that, hey, I can fall to the back of this group, and I'm still good to get the lucky dog. I just want to make sure I don't get involved in a wreck if that caution comes out, because that'll take that lucky dog away.
Well, he better keep his eyes open because he's got a Swervin' Johnson in front of him. Get it? Swervin' Johnson. What's up? Swervin' Johnson right in front of him. Ferdiani behind him, so he does have a teammate giving him a little bit of protection. Outside lane, I think, is that Morrill running high next to him?
You got Kevin, Kyle, and Gambrel right now on the outside.
Kyle.
Those are your two boys right now cooking on that outside lane.
Nothing
Morrill's
could possibly
in the pits
go wrong
right now, actually.
Yeah, nothing could possibly go wrong. Up front, look at this. Duvall into the back of Nick Mills, almost sending him round. Vulpes going to get a little bit ahead of that group. Going to be 3 wide behind them now. Oh, my spicy action at EchoPark. Battle continuing. This is lap number 101. We've got 15 laps to go to settle this battle. And Vulpes still, Nick Mills pushing, and now Duvall as the 3rd car. Ricky Mandela 4, and Jake Johnson, Florida Man Racing, pumps his way into 5th. So, 2 Animal House Custom, 2 Florida Man Racing in the top 5. Nick Mills, odd man out. Kevin Kyle, not a friend. Double O Joe on the apron behind Johnson. He is a lap down, but he's working with his good buddy, Paul Ferdiani. And then Johnson and Chris Smith also together with Eric Gambrel. Whoa, it's starting to tick down. Inside lane appears to be the place to be. But Kevin Kyle, he just refuses. Never say die, Kevin Kyle.
You know, I want you to look at what happens down here in 3 and 4 this next time around. I think Joe Vulpes has given Nick some clean air on the bottom of the track to help the two of them turn a little bit better. Jax Duvall knows he needs to get to the inside of that 20 car, and if Nick, yeah, look at that big push into 3. Nick Mills has to hold the bottom in order to make sure Duvall doesn't get around him. So giving Nick Mills a little bit of clean air would be beneficial for Vulpes to make sure Duvall can't get to the inside due to dirty air.
Duvall has been pushing. He's got his Florida Man teammate just 2 cars behind him If Jake Johnson could slip on by Ricky Mandela, then he could help Duval. Duval deep into the 20s, rear bumper. So Mandela keeping Johnson and Duval from hooking up round the outside. Bennett continues. He's that sixth car to be the first car eligible for the lucky dog, but do not take your eyes off of the 117 of Richard Leclerc. He is just a few cars back now. If the cards fall the right way, Leclerc could get into that lucky dog battle with 00 Joe, but it's going to take a little bit of luck as there are 3 cars separating the 2 of them. Gambrel taking it up high around Ferdiani. Gambrel with a heck of a run. Can he side draft and get by 00 Joe? He's almost there. Now he's to the 32 of Johnson. So Gambrel going around the outside into 6th, but he's got no help. Late run there on the outside.
Ooh.
Wow. Look at Gambrel continue to take it up.
Maybe somebody goes out there with him with the kind of run he's getting.
You would have thought Johnson would have been the one to get closer to his buddy Duval, but he doesn't want to do it. Kevin Kyle now with good momentum. Ooh, good move by Duval. Did you see what Duval did? He came up just enough to block and give a little dirty air to Gambrel, and he does it again. What gamesmanship by Duval.
Yeah, Duval now has 2 fronts to fight on. He needs to fight the front to make sure the outside doesn't get a run, and he needs to fight the front to find a way around the 20 car to the inside.
So right now, Duval, though, great job, shut down the momentum of that outside lane, refusing to let Gambrel and Kevin Kyle advance any further. Up front, we still now look at this. David Medina and David Brenner in danger. That lead group gonna go around the outside, not picking them up, gonna force them to go a lap down. Very unfortunate. You can see there Brenner being shown multiple laps down at this point. That's 2. And then David Medina as well. Remember his early shenanigans. Looks like he's about 3 laps down. So both those guys, tough day. Gambrel makes it 3 wide with Kevin Kyle.
Oh.
Kevin Kyle hugging the wall, taps the wall. Gambrel 00 Joe gonna sneak by. There goes Ferdiani. Kyle still fading backwards all the way to the back of that lead pack. Kevin Kyle tried to make the outside work, couldn't hold his line. Into the wall he goes. Stem and destroy factory driver. Rough day. Gambrel getting loose.
I think he tried to clear himself on the 9 and then got hit in the left rear, able to save it. Oh, contact with a 37, 31 in the wall. A lot of contact right
Kyle
there.
again. You know, it's the same wall. Kevin Kyle can't be pleased. Up front, 00 Joe pushing on Ricky Mandela. Gonna have Ferdiani coming from behind. Looks like Brenner trying to get into the group. David Medina as well, the 4th and 5th car on the inside lane. This thing wide open now with the lap drivers joining that group. Double down on the damage that some of those cars took. Gambrel, Chris Smith as well, all with a little bit of damage. Kevin Kyle, those are the last 3 cars in this lead group. Outside lane, Ricky Mandela getting the push from the Plus EV Paints team, trying to get up in there. Ricky Mandela loose, holding on for dear life, up into 00 Joe. Leclerc loose. No, he's around. Leclerc loose. Oh, he also picks up the brand new driver of Ben Knights. Here comes Stephen Neal. Lots of lucky dog candidates involved in that wreck. Gonna have to do a little
pass it on to the 8 car. That's what I'm hearing over the radio.
Oh, and David Owens celebrating. Zero Chill is gonna be the recipient of the lucky dog. David Owens, right when you thought you could count him out, finds himself back on the lead lap late in the race. That is the 3rd caution, which means the Demolition Derby continues here at the Foss Racing 180, third caution of the day. Leclerc, it was backing up outside lane, business was cooking, and then we saw Leclerc get loose up into another car. We're going to have to get Johnny replay to show it. Everybody but David
I got it
Owens
ready.
is doing this song.
It was almost like tandem. They both kind of swerved to the left and then back up to the right, but 937 wasn't able to correct it like Leclerc did, and then tapped him, Kevin Kyle on the wall, a different wall this time.
Oh.
937 barely clips the 46, and then he's airborne. Little twist there.
Oh, and Leclerc heavy into the wall as well. Very
Look at the
unfortunate.
46. Go to the 46. That car's drifting everywhere. I think just that little clippage. I think that's it. 46 should be fine.
Yeah, he straightens it out there.
That was a good save. Good job not hitting anything.
All
I think
right,
that 937
so
is toast.
Yeah. you
now
can see
I
the wheels.
doubt anybody in the front is thinking about a caution. I think about a pit stop. I think their bet is made. But Joe, what about the guys a little bit deeper in this thing? You know, it looks like Brenner's threatening. I mean, why not come down? If you're not battling for the lead, get tires, take a shot. If there's another caution, maybe then you've got the freshest tires for that second or third green-white checker attempt.
Yeah, I think most of these guys are fixing damage, though, because track position matters more than tires. Eric Gambrill had nothing to lose, also wanted to make sure he didn't have any damage. Todd Dunn also had nothing to lose, so why not come down, take tires? Not really taking, not really going to get too much track position, but that's why Jake Johnson, Chris Smith, they stayed out there, right? Because they want to make sure they can make a chance at this run here, because track position matters more than those tires for a green-white checkered.
Yeah, look at that. Here comes, looks like Bennett, the 23 of Stiers, Stephen
Those are
Neal,
all lap
David
cars
Buell,
there.
Kyle Lynott, all those lappers say, hey, let's see if I got damage. Let's see if I can, why not put a set of tires on this shootout? I mean, you got nothing to lose. You're already a lap down. Looks like Jose Medina fading a little bit back as well. Rough day for our pole setter, Jose Medina, after a couple of incidents out there on the track. 13 cars being shown on the lead lap as we line up for this first green-white checker attempt. According to the Bonfire Premier Cup rules, 3 of them maximum. So we'll see just how far it will go. And with all these cars bunching up together on older tires, makes you wonder if something special might come. Now, looking back through the field, we did see Gambrill came in for the 4 tires, as did Modric, Dunn, Kevin Kyle, David Owens, Zach Engel. Looks like Leclerc came in for fuel. He's the first car a lap down. Rose came in for tires, also a lap down with Sarah, Malarkey, Stewart, and 00 Joe. So, in theory, 5-6 guys could be battling for that lucky dog if a caution will appear on the first lap. Once they take that white flag, it's all she wrote for cautions. Joe Volpus is your leader. Look how far back Nick Mills is as we roll it up. 3, 2, 1, away we go. Great start there. Duval right into the back of the 98. Joe Volpus across the start-finish line. This is the first lap of the green-white checker. Volpus going to lead him into 1. Duval, he ain't going nowhere. Nick Mills into 3rd, Ferdiani 4th, Chris Smith into 5th, and it's Ricky Mandela on the outside, now losing position to Jake Johnson.
There goes Nick Mills to the outside, trying to make something happen. Duval all over the back of the 98, pushing him all the way around the racetrack.
Now Ferdiani going to look high above Nick Mills as well, but he also fades. Outside lane not working today, boys. Coming around 4.
They're wrecking back.
This is official now. Oh, and they're having issues in the back of the field, but it's Duval and Nick Mills side by side. Chris Smith on the apron, Ferdiani Gambrill on the outside. Joe Volpus going to bring it out of 2, looking strong, but here comes Nick Mills. Mills needs a push. Duval side drafting. Mills gets a hard ram from Ferdiani, and Gambrel, but it's Vulpes on the inside. Vulpes still driving. They're bumping behind him. 3 in a row. Joe Vulpes wins the Foss Racing 180. The 98 is your winner.
There was a huge wreck coming to the white flag there, Mean Gene. They took it before a caution could come out, though. It looked like I saw David Medina, I think Ricky Mandela, and a lot of others were involved in that. So tough break for a few guys that were having good runs.
Yeah, you could see a lot of the guys that were battling for lap position as well had to slow, and then the back of the field just came in there like a wrecking ball. You don't slow down on the last lap, and that is what we saw right there. Donuts on the start-finish line, 3 in a row. Look how many laps he led. Last week, Vulpes finishes 3rd at the Puckett Memorial. This week, finishes on the top. This is one of the guys we were looking at, a Final Four contender. Take Landry out of the equation, and suddenly this is one of the fellas, along with Nick Mills, David Medina, that you have to pay attention to as the season is going to progress. Big win, first win of the year here in round number 2.
Yeah, great win from him here today. And then, of course, the boys that finished right behind him, right, Mean Gene? You look at Jax Duval, able to get back to second, just couldn't figure out how to make that run work, though, to get the race win. Nick Mills, Joe Vulpes worked together really well there for that whole race, pretty much. Ends up 3rd. So those top 3, very, very synonymous to being very good at this style of racing. So
and Chris Smith got fifth. Got 5th last year, got 4th this year.
Yeah, Chris Smith, I was going to mention. I was going to pass it on to you to really start talking about everybody else. But yeah, Chris Smith is somebody that we've seen run really, really well at these styles of tracks. Usually just some bad luck happens to him at some points in these races. But Atlanta's been good to him the last 2 seasons, a 5th and a 4th.
Yeah, Paul Ferdiani comes back for his first race of the year. The Gambler gets the top 5. Eric Gambrel, we saw him last week start in 2nd. He and teammate Buddy Sully caught up in some foolishness, but comes back with a solid 6th. Jake Johnson continuing a strong season. We see the 32 in 7th here today. Todd Dunn, first top 10 of the season. Congratulations to the number 72 Florida Man Racing driver. Look at that. 3 of the 4 Florida Man Racing drivers in the top 8. Good run for that team here today. David Owens boy, he really took advantage of getting back on that lead lap. Finishes in 9th. Zach Engel was up in the front. Unfortunately, fades back to 10th. Kevin Kyle, 11th. And last car on the lead lap, Rick Modric with a 12th place position. And here's guys, I don't know which of them got caught in that wreck at the end or not. Ricky Mandela, JZ Bennett, Richard Leclerc, Mike Sara, Jerry Rose, Justin Malarkey, all on one lap down. Stewart 2 laps down, as is Tim Darby, Joey Stiers. Kyle Lynott never recovered. What a move by Medina. What he did at the beginning to take Lynott out of the race, brilliant. I mean, Kyle wouldn't agree, but brilliant. David Brenner 2 laps down, as is Stephen Neal in 24th. And then, the year of tribulation continues for multiple-time champion David Medina coming home 3 laps down in 25th. David Buell, 26. Chris Smorrell, 27. First-time driver Ben Knights, 28. Then we see Medina, who did get caught up in the accident, 13 laps down. And Tommy Fox, who went for a ride early on, 96 laps down, is the 30th finisher here today. Tommy, that's just a bad luck for the 57, waiting to see that race. It's like when you got the monkey on your back, Joe. Once you get it off, things clear up and you can move forward. But that cloud has been on top of that 57 for a few weeks now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what car number he's in, either 5700. He could get a new number, and I don't think that luck is going to go away from him. What number?
What number he needs to prove he doesn't care?
What is that?
That he doesn't care. Come on.
What number? What number?
6-7. Yeah, you walked right into that. Way too soon playoff positions here. Now, this is a win and you're in situation. So Vulpes and Mills both have secured their position in the next round. Behind them, David Owens with a strong start, as is Florida Man Racing Jax Duvall, jumping up 3 spots. Evan Stewart, second last week, rough break here today, holds on for top 5. There he is, Jake Johnson, Florida Man driving in 6th, tied with Justin Malarkey. Rick Modrick going to be in 8th. Kyle Lynott, 9. Todd Dunn, playoff driver Todd Dunn, in 10th. Double O Joe, Eric Gambrell up 12, rounding off. Tied with Ricky Mandela, who's tied with David Medina. Three-way tie for those drivers, all looking at that last playoff spot in the way too early playoff point standing. Other drivers to note, Jose Medina, tons of speed. Jose, of course, was a round of 8 driver last year. Do not count out the number 54 plus EV Paints Toyota. David Brenner as well, playoff experience. Stephen Neal, road course expert, not going anywhere. Michael Sarr, one of the championship drivers for Best of the Rest, would love to make his way up into the playoff picture. Tim Darby, Tommy Fox, Jerry Rose, rounding off drivers who have 2 starts. Behind them, Ferdiani and Chris Smith. Look how many points those 2 guys have with just the 1 start. Joe, if you doubled their points and brought them up to 76, look where they would be in the way too early playoff poll.
Yep, that's what we're looking at right here. It's pretty much everybody that has 2 starts. It could be on the other flip end of it, though. David Buell, league owner, 2 starts, and he's behind guys with 1 start. It's been an absolute opposite for him. Terrible start to the season. So it can happen either way here on Sundays, Mean Gene.
Really could. And again, I think Buell's just going to get faster as the year goes on. That knee is not 100%, but he's out here for the love of the game, and we're going to see the 52 get faster as we go. Another notable driver would be Zach Engel. Zach, one of the drivers that only has 1 start on the year, but we've seen that 47 in victory lane before. So if he continues to run at a full-time pace, that 47 will be somebody you got to keep an eye on. Wins will put you in, and the plenty of drivers below that number 12 spot that you're going to have to keep an eye on as the season progresses, making the points battle even tighter and tighter as the season progresses. Next week, the boys of Bonfire will be at Phoenix Motor Speedway. Lovely action out there at Phoenix as 125 laps will be battled to see which person secures their golden ticket to the playoffs, or will it be Vulpes scoring a second win, or Nick Mills, who always seems to be finding his way up into the front of the field. How do you find out? I'm glad you asked. Make sure you are subscribed to the Vortex Racing Network. Vortex Racing Network. We've been on the air now for 16 months. That's right. And in that brief time, we have picked up 4 series, 4 leagues with multiple series in each league. You just got done watching the Bonfire Premier Cup. Tomorrow night, we're going to do a live doubleheader. That's right. You're going to watch the DDI ARCA series do battle. That will be brought to you, of course, by Hilltop Bullet. Alex Hillman will be bringing you that broadcast, followed up by the Monday Night Mayhem series, as we've seen 6 winners in 7 races, and 2-time winner Colin Bollinger, as those fellas will do battle at Richmond to see who will be the second 2-time winner, or will we get a 7th winner in 8 races? Join me and Zach Panzarella tomorrow to find out. Tuesdays, continuing the amazing series, the truck series, the Dennis Puckett Big Truckin' Tuesday. Great fields as they close in on playoff season. Just finished their in-season tournament, and now we turn our eyes towards the playoffs and Best of the Rest, as they just have 2 more races to figure out who is going to advance. Join us Tuesday as the battle continues. Wednesday night, the MRL DDI Moonlight Truck Series will be rebroadcast. Like you're going to be watching the Texas race. Come see who happens to be the come out on top there. Will it be Brandon Ybarra again, or will you see a new winner? Thursdays, of course, coming very soon. Quantum Contender Series live on Thursdays with Kevin Kyle, and those are the broadcasts that you see. Also, we have our sister league. The MRL has a ARCA series. They race on Friday nights. Next race for them is going to be at Bristol, but later this week, you can catch their latest race at Watkins Glen. So that is going to wrap up the action from EchoPark here today. You just watched the Foss Racing 180, co-sponsored by Firewater Tire Solutions. You want to keep track of Madison and Tim Foss's racing career, go to their YouTube channel, Foss Racing at Yahoo, or you want to get involved in racing, period, in the Midwest, Firewater Tire Solutions, building chassis and other things to help you go fast in karts and every level of competition. Thank you so much also to Kyle Lynott for sponsoring our poll award, the 988 poll award. Today awarded to Jose Medina. Kyle, new sponsor all year long, making these races happen. So give the man a shout as noble cause and a great sponsor here for the Bonfire Premier Cup. And Tim Darby taking over our cautions, the Demolition Derby. Not a lot of call for Tim today, but we had some good ones and definitely affected the middle drivers in that race, much more than the front, where we saw Joe Vulpes just dominate with an assist from Nick Mills here today. Boys, any final thoughts as we walk away from EchoPark?
It was a good race. It started off amazing, especially with that move by Medina, and then just clean racing. The outside just never really kind of got into the groove. From what I was seeing, it definitely was what is it called? Seat clencher the whole race.
You know, I think that's a great observation on your part. We saw the outside line try to form up so many times, and for whatever reason, I'm going to lean towards people just not side drafting properly, or the tires starting to wear out and not being able to hold their line. And we just couldn't see 4 and 5 cars just tighten it up on that outside enough to get to the front. The only time we saw it was when Double O Joe took over the lead, but those are from his teammates. And I imagine we were seeing some of that okie dokie shenanigans up front. Smoking Joe, final thoughts.
Very clean race here today. Only 3 cautions for the racing that we see at a track like this. It was a very clean race. Only 1 green, white, checkered. Things usually get wild, tend to get wild at the end of races here as well. But only 1 green, white, checkered this time. Only 3 cautions overall. Very clean race for as many cars as showed up today.
Love it. And I know you, the fans at home, did as well. Great racing here. Make sure you are subscribed to the Vortex Racing Network. Share this video with your friends. Give them that same opportunity that you enjoyed today. And hey, go ahead and like that video. Push us up the algorithm, because the more views, the more things that we can do. Remember, we did have that Valentine's Day full-length Drive for 5 Daytona race, and we are eyeballing perhaps doing a Darlington full-length race, maybe Indy, maybe Charlotte. Plans are still being made behind the scenes. Let us know what you want to see, but definitely another full-time, full-length race coming down the pipeline, going to be brought to you with Mr. Kevin Kyle himself. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the broadcast as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. That is going to wrap us up from EchoPark. You've watched the Foss Racing 180. On behalf of myself, Mean Gene Money, my tag team partners, Smokin' Joe, Johnny Replay. Big shout out to all the admins of the Bonfire Racing League and the Bonfire Premier Cup, and much love to our sponsors for making it happen. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Go watch the COTA race, and as always, bottoms up and hammer down.